JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 22nd of September 2021. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So feel free to check us out here on jfdbank.com, and of course click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, I can see in the chat room here, hello to you too, and I do apologize for my pronunciation. Is it Zhao or is it Hao? Mr. Cruz, hello to you too. Like I said, I do apologize for my pronunciation. If you can give me a hint how to pronounce correctly your name, then yeah, that would be fantastic for the future. As always, guys, just let's start off with the Nikkei 225 here. And as you can see, so far so good in a way, in terms of what I've talked about in the beginning of this week and last week as well. At the end of last week, basically what I said, that if we drop somewhere below this 30,202 territory, then we could see a nice little corrective move lower. So far, like I said, this is exactly what's happening. We're seeing a nice little move here towards that target, the one that I talked about, the 29,480 zone, which almost coincides here with the 21-day EMA. So, long story short, for now I'm still sticking to the same idea. I'm still leaning a little bit more towards the downside, for now that's the kind of the game plan here for me on Nikkei 225. Certainly I'm not really going to drag this one way too much to the downside, and initially I'm going to aim, like I said, for this territory, but if it overshoots it, my next target is this upside support line taken from the low of the 20th of August, which could provide a hold up. However, like I said, at the moment that's the game plan. Let's see if the index stalls somewhere around here. Sawi, hello, good morning to you too. So I hope everybody's having a wonderful start of Wednesday. So in terms of Shanghai Composite is finally open, and basically the Chinese market was on holiday for 2 days, so now we're back on track here, and you are seeing a nice little reversal here back to the upside and back into positive territory. Now this is quite interesting. However, I'm going to be very careful because, first of all, I talked about this level previously, this 3,629 territory, which previously I looked at as a nice barrier, which if it gets broken could open the door to its higher levels. Then I looked at it as a support, and now it's could take the role of resistance again. So excuse me. So now let's see if something like this won't happen here. And for now I'm kind of sticking to this little scenario. Maybe we could just see a bit of a decline here. And this level here came perfectly in line with this little downside line as well, this steep downside resistance line. And as you can see, the index got a little hold up near this line as well. So everything kind of working out perfectly here, I would say, for the sellers, because again, if this downside line continues to provide resistance, or at least this barrier continues to provide resistance, because I'm not going to spend too much time monitoring this downside line. I just put it there as out of kind of curiosity here, I would say, because again, if next candle, for example, if it opens tomorrow, when it opens tomorrow, it's going to be somewhere on this downside line or even above this downside line, so it wouldn't really paint a true picture. So again, that's why I'm going to stick to the level instead, and if this barrier somehow continues to provide resistance, then yes, another slide here could be possible. Don't get me wrong, we could see an overshoot, we could see a nice push higher above this initially, but if the body of the daily candle remains below this, well, I mean, maybe we're not really done with the downside. And we do have a good area for a potential test, which is around the 3,544 zone, or this upside support line taken from the low the 28th of July. Quick update on VIX. Just wanted to show you what I was talking about yesterday, and basically what I said yesterday, that I mean, according to the history here, whenever we have a strong spike here, we have the next day is a little bit calmer, and we see a bit of a decline here. So at the moment, I would say maybe the VIX could get back to the downside here. But again, let's see. This is again, this one is it's just a reflection, so of what's happening. So I mean, at the moment, I would say, I mean, just we had our good spike here, and this was that sell-off on Monday. Maybe we could see a bit of a retracement here, or maybe a stall. It's stalling somewhere near this level. And keep your eyes on Thursday. On Thursday, we do have a bit of data coming out. So basically, in terms of economic data today, let me just quickly open the economic calendar. So we got the BOJ monetary policy statement today, and the interest rate decision from the BOJ, the Bank of Japan. Of course, the interest rate remained the same at minus 0.1%. And of course, the Japanese government kept the target for a 10-year bond yield at around 0% during its September meeting. So during this meeting, I mean. So yeah. Also, what you need to keep an eye on today is, of course, the FOMC statement and the FOMC interest rate decision. So far, there isn't a huge expectation for a rate hike. Currently, it sits at plus 0.25%. But again, let's see how everything is going to play out, guys. At the moment, like I said, we could see increased market volatility later on in the evening, or in the during the U.S. session, during the day of the U.S. session, trading session. Tomorrow, in terms of there are some economic data, huge big economic data releases, so there's a bunch of those, and probably it's not even worthwhile for me to go through all of them, because again, we do have the BOE interest rate decision, we have the preliminary composite and manufacturing numbers coming out from various countries. And of course, we do have the initial and continuing jobless claims from the U.S. and also the Evergrande release. This kind of the events surrounding the Chinese Evergrande company. So there are some information coming out on Thursdays from that company. So keep your eyes on that, guys. And this is, like I said, this is what could also have its effect on the broader market. But again, let's not over speculate on this one too much. Let's see. For now, let's go step by step on this one. And this is where, if the news are not really favorable, then well, we could maybe see VIX spiking higher again. DAX, the German index, climbed back above this upside line taken from the low of the 13th of May, and yep, of course. This kind of gives a bit of hope here for the buyers. And if yesterday the index closed near the 15,348 level, Well, the cash index is currently trading at around 15,400 zone. So basically, we are getting closer to this hurdle right here, which I've talked about previously. I looked at it as a good area of support. Now it could take the role of resistance, but if it climbs above this area, above this 15,454 level, then we could go for a bit of a larger correction to the upside. I will consider lower levels again if we see a drop below yesterday's low near the 15,205 territory here, and then yes, I'll go for the downside again. Nasdaq 100 very quickly on this one still continues to trade above this upside support line taken from the low of the 23rd of March. Now, after Monday's successful test of it, the index rebounded and it remained above that line. The cash index is currently trading at around 15,075 territory, and yep, that's nicely above yesterday's close, but still below this hurdle here. The high of the 20th of September here, near the 15,157 level. If we climb above it, then yes, I'll aim for the upside, slightly for the upside again, because let's not forget that basically we do have this little downside resistance line right here, which could in a way play its game, play its role, and could provide a bit of resistance, a bit of a hold up. So yeah, keep that in mind. So even if we pop above this 15,157 territory, then yes, I'll go for slightly higher levels, but I'll be very careful. Now DXY, the dollar index, continued to trade above that 93.18 level. I talked about that level, and yep, so far so good for the bulls. I would say be very careful here. I mean, for now I'm aiming for the upside. However, if it starts dropping back below the 93.18 level, then well, I mean, maybe we could go for a bit of a larger correction here to the, for a correction here to the downside. But at the moment, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside. But let's not rush into anything. If you're a little bit on the cautious side, then what you can do here is just wait for a push above this 93.45 level and then go for the upside, because such a move here would confirm a forthcoming higher high, where the next target could be the highest point of August. Gold, so far it's retracing, it's recovering from that Friday's drag here, Friday's decline, and yep, I mean, at the moment, probably a lot of buyers right here who were buying on Friday are getting disappointed right now, because it's kind of recovering. And but what's interesting here, what I've mentioned to you before, talked about the 1780 level. I spoke about that level previously. I looked at it as a good area of support, which I said that if it gets broken, could open the door towards lower levels, but now it could take the role of resistance. Let's see if it does that. If it does, then yep, another slide here could be possible. So keep that in mind, especially also if DXY starts popping higher. If in order to, let's say, consider some slightly even higher levels, of course a break of this downside line taken from the high of the 3rd of September would be needed. WTI Oil, so pushing back to the upside, or at least trying to push back to the upside. As you can see, this hurdle here, the 69.88 zone, which coincides with the 21-day EMA, it's doing its job. It's provided support, although we saw a bit of an overshoot here yesterday. And yep, the commodity now is trying to climb higher. However, for me, this is a very tricky spot here, and to be honest, I will take a bit of a neutral stand on this one, to be honest, because again, we've violated this upside line. It's no longer needed here. Excuse me. It's no longer needed, but yeah, in order to consider maybe some higher levels, then yes, a push above the 73.11 territory is needed, and for the downside, a drop below the 69.88 level would be required as well. Okay, sorry for going a bit silent there. Going into Bitcoin now. Bitcoin drifted lower yesterday and dropped below the 200-day EMA and stayed below. Well, actually, let me refresh this chart because some of the lines are old here. So yeah, it drifted lower and fell below eventually all of its EMAs. And yeah, it's currently trying to climb back above the 200-day EMA. Now, this is going to be an interesting one here because basically, if it climbs back above the 200-day EMA, maybe it could have a chance to drift a little bit more to the upside. But even if it does that, then we'll keep an eye on this little downside resistance line taken from the high of the 7th of September, which could in a way still provide resistance. So even if we stay above the 200-day EMA here, then yes, we could aim for the upside again, but we will be very careful near this downside line. And then we'll take it from there. For the downside, if you want to aim for lower levels on this one, then probably wait for at least a drop below yesterday's low here near the 39,600 zone, and this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, where our next target could be this lowest point of August near the 37,300 level. Jumping into AUDNZD, just a quick update. I know I spoke about this already several times this week and last week, and but still remains very, very interesting. As you can see, this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 13th of July is still doing its job and providing a hold up. And yesterday we tried to push higher and test this downside line. We failed. Today we tried to push this towards this downside line and we failed. And well, now, I mean, will it go lower? Again, this is quite a tricky one because we have already kind of drifted quite decently to the downside I would say in a short period of time. Maybe a bit of a corrective move higher could be possible. However, in order to consider that idea, a break through this downside line, and I would like to see the body of the daily candle staying above this downside line, and then yes, we could go for some higher levels. But at the moment, it's still the same way, could go lower. However, with the downside, I will take a cautious approach here and wait for a drop below the 1.0280 zone right here, which is the current lowest point of September. A nice good drop below it would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, more sellers could join in. Now, CHFJPY. Now, I don't look at this one very often, but it's quite interesting sometimes to keep an eye on it. So-called the battle of the safe havens here. Both currencies considered to be the attractive ones to buy, and when the times are a little bit on the downside. However, here you can see that the CHF right now is getting a little bit stronger, and as market conditions as indices start pulling back up, we can see CHF moving up as well. So although both of the currencies are considered to be kind of safe havens, still the Japanese yen is how to say it, even more of that. I mean, it plays that role better as a safe haven, so is more attractive for the for investors, so not as the Swiss franc. So here we're seeing a nice good push higher. However, from the technical side, first of all, we're still trading below this downside line. We're forming these lower highs. Yes, we are seeing a nice little retracement here back down after we formed a lower low. Let's see if this 200-day EMA provides resistance. If it does, then well, this is where it's going to be quite interesting to see if the bears take advantage of the higher rate and push this one lower. So basically, I'm keeping an eye right now on this 118.66 level together with the 200-day EMA. If this whole area does provide its good resistance, then yes, another slide here could be possible. If it climbs back above it, then we'll go for a larger correction here to the upside. But again, the reason why I'm saying correction, because we're still on a downtrend. USDJPY, very quickly on this one, just a quick update. The pair tested the lower side of this little triangle that I talked about previously. And for now, it's a bit of a difficult one here, and I would say that I will remain careful here and calm, and to be honest, more neutral, because again, I need to see a clear breakthrough one of these lines, and I would like to see the daily candle staying outside of this triangle before I could consider the next short-term directional move. USDCAD, so drifting back down after this 1.2840 level continued to play its role and provide support. So far, so good. Yes, we're seeing it drift back down because oil is picking up and Canadian dollar is getting a little bit on the stronger side. And let's see if oil makes a good run higher today further, and if it does, then USDCAD could drift further south here, and we could maybe even test this upside support line taken from the low the 7th of September, so keep that in mind. GBPUSD, very quickly on that one, and yep, we are also at a very interesting spot here. So similar in a similar fashion as with USDJPY, it's also stuck here in this little triangle pattern, and it's closer to the lower side of it. If you want to aim for the downside, guys, well, I mean, wait for that confirmation break. At the moment, it still could go lower. What could even happen? It could even give us a false breakout here, and then kind of end up still above this upside line, and then kind of go higher again. So this way, the market takes out a lot of traders out, and then yes, we could see a nice little reversal here back up. So wait for that confirmation, guys. I mean, I would like I said, for me, it would be the daily candle body remaining below this upside line. If it does that, then it increases the chances. I'm not saying that this is guarantees, but it increases the chances for a further decline. EURJPY, haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but yeah, we're also at a very interesting spot here right now on this pair. So the 127.93 territory did its job and acted as a good area of support recently. This is the lowest point of August, and yep, now we're keeping a close eye on it. Yes, we're seeing a nice rebound here, but this could be part of a temporary correction before another leg of selling. So for now, we're sitting below this downside line taken from the high of the 2nd of June, and in a way it could still drift a little bit more to the upside. It could maybe test this 200-day EMA, but if it provides good resistance, another slide could be possible. However, either way, for me, I'm gonna lean towards the downside if we get a drop below the 127.93 territory, and then yes, we could start aiming for lower levels, one of which, of course, the ideal scenario here is the 125.09 level, but again, of course, there are some obstacles on the way higher, and which could be tested. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind here, but again, so one of these levels could be a target here, the 126.10, but we'll take it from there if we do see that drop. And finally, EURUSD here. Yes, so far it's still stuck here, I would say. So not much is happening. But keep your eyes on the FOMC statement today, guys. So that could bring a bit of more trading activity into this pair. And yeah, if you're looking for the downside, then a drop somewhere below this 1.1704 territory might do the trick. But we do have this 1.1664 level to watch out for. For the upside, I would need to see maybe a push above this downside line, and yep, somewhere maybe a push above. Well, this is where the trick is. Probably I'm going to stick to this little hurdle here, the 1.1789 zone, just to be a little bit more on the safe side, and also a push above the 21-day EMA might do the trick here for a few more buyers. So guys, that's it for the session. I hope you really found it useful. I really appreciate your time, guys, your views, your likes, your comments. I really do. So thank you for that. And like I said, once again, I hope you found it useful. If you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, then that's 6 o'clock GMT time for now. Have your stop losses in place, and everything will be fine. Have a wonderful trading day, guys. Stay safe.